Get ready with me while I tell you guys a story about my fake best friend and how I became best friends with her sister. We're gonna use code names. So my ex-best friend is Pink, okay? So Pink was best friends with some other girl. We're gonna name her Blue. So Pink was friends with Blue, but I been knowing Blue for a while. So we just all became a trio. Well, that's what I thought. So Pink invited me to a birthday party, so I went. So I went to the party, and then we started talking, right? And then Pink brought one of her friends that I never met. And Pink's sister was saying that that girl wasn't a good influence and that she just... So Pink goes and grabs her friend while I'm in the bounce house with Pink's sister. She takes her inside and she tells us to say hi to her. So I'm like, okay, hi. But then she gave me a stink face. So I was like, okay, if you're gonna give me a stink face, then you could go with her and I'll just be with your sister. They gave all of us a stink face and then they just left the bounce house. And I told Pink's sister, is she okay? Should we talk to her? And they're like, no, she always gets like this. I was like, oh. The night goes on and I end up leaving. So before I left, I gave Pink a hug and I told her bye. And she just gave me a side hug and didn't even tell me bye. Okay, acting like that in your own home at a party is crazy, but okay. Mind you, the whole night that I wasn't hanging out with her, I was telling her sister, should I talk to her? Should I invite her? They were all like, no, because she always gets like this. There's no point in trying. I'm like, okay. But then when I get home, Pink texts me. She texts me talking about something that I left her out and that I was being rude. But I'm like, don't leave out the part where you left me to go with your friends. But so then we're arguing back and forth. And I'm like, okay, whatever. You do you and I'll do me. We don't have to be friends. But then they invite me to another party, but this time it wasn't Pink, it was her sister. So I go to a party and it's me, her sister, and her two friends. So we're all sitting at a table and then she just comes. We're all like, okay, whatever. But the only reason why she sat with us because Blue wasn't gonna go. And then, what was it? I think someone brought up that Blue wasn't coming. And then she was like, oh yeah, and have you guys seen her stories and everything she's been posting? She said that she was posting weird stuff and we're confused. We're like, oh, what is she posting? And then she pulled up the screenshots and everything and she was showing us. She showed us the screenshot and we were all confused because it was something that she shouldn't be doing and she was in a relationship. So I'm like, oh, isn't she in a relationship? And she was like, yeah, that's the weird part. I was okay. And then I tried switching the subject, but she tried to keep talking about her. So I'm like, whatever. And then we all had a group chat besides her, because, we had a group chat, so we were just texting that she was just trying to create problems. And then whatever, she goes to her room while we're in the living room, and we just all start having fun. I'm inviting her to come hang out with us, and she's just ignoring me and saying that she's okay. So then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let her be, I already asked her if she wanted to hang out. She said no, so I'm like, okay. Then we end up having a sleepover, and I invited her. I'm like, you wanna come with us? She said no, I'll sleep in my room. Okay. Whatever, the next morning, we hang out, whatever, and then I go to my house. She texts me talking about something that I was leaving her out and that I wasn't inviting her. So then I'm like, no one left you out. I was asking if you wanted to hang out. You said no. I'm not going to keep coming into your room every 5 minutes asking you if you want to hang out if the first time you said no. If you change your mind, I told her, if you change your mind, you could come. I told her that, so I don't have to keep going in that room. I just wanted to have fun. And then I end up texting her sister, I'm like, what is your sister talking about? And I send her screenshots. I end up texting her sister and telling her, what's going on with your sister? Telling me not to worry about her because she always gets like that with every single one of her friends. So then her sister starts talking to me and telling me that I don't need her, that she's just problematic. So then I'm like, you know what? If she's just trying to create problems with me, if she's gonna wanna fight all the time, I'm not gonna be her friend. So then her sister was like, okay, go ahead, no one's stopping you. So I stopped being her friend and I stopped being friends with her sister, which is my best friend now. Our first ever hangout was at the movie theaters. It was so much fun. Wait, I left a big old part. So you know how I said that Pink was talking shit about Blue? Apparently when we left her out that day, she ended up texting Blue saying that we were talking bad about her. But she was the one talking bad about her. And I guess Blue believed her. And then she started saying stuff to me and my friend and her other friends. And how my friend was also friends with her. She was like, you're really gonna listen to that? So then they ended up becoming a duo and I became a duo with her sister, right? But at the end of the day, Pink became fake to everyone. She switched up her whole style. She just became weird because she wanted to be about boys. And I know she might be watching this because I have her blocked and she'll be going on people's devices to look at my videos. So if you're watching this, yes, it's about you.
I caught my husband slipping me birth control after 6 months of trying to get pregnant. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. Huzzy and I have been married for 3 years. As newlyweds, we made the decision to not have kids early on. We wanted to enjoy each other, travel, and really focus on our careers. And thankfully, we've been able to do that. We both have great jobs. We live in a wonderful city, and we were even able to buy our own apartment in one of the best high-rises where we live. We even take care of our families. The point is, our lives are pretty good. About 8 months ago, I brought up the conversation because I thought that it was time. Finally, after 2 months, we decided that we would just start trying. And then ensued 6 months of me trying to get pregnant. But I've struggled so much. I keep track of my temperature, my cycles. I am so on top of everything. But nothing was working. Finally, after 6 months, I thought, you know what? I should go to the doctor. And when I told my husband this, he freaked out. He yelled at me, number one, which he never does. And he forbade me from going to the doctor. I caught my husband slipping me birth control after 6 months of trying to get pregnant. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It was sent to me on Instagram. After he forbade me from going to the doctor, I asked him why. After all, we'd been trying for so long to get pregnant and nothing was working. That's when he said that it was probably just the stress and that all I needed to do was calm down. And you know what I did? I believed him. I didn't go to the doctor. But then he started acting really suspicious. Anytime that I would go into the kitchen, he would just try to rush whatever he was doing. And he even started insisting that he would wash the dishes and do all the cooking. He said that this was probably going to help me out with my stress. But in reality, cooking and cleaning is something I actually love. This included making me my daily smoothie. You see, I would always prep my smoothies in the freezer. I would just pop out a bag and put it in the blender. So one night I wake up and it's 3 a.m. and he's making some noise in the kitchen. When I walk out into the kitchen, as soon as he sees me, he drops something onto the floor. I run over to pick it up and guess what it is? It's birth control. And he was putting it in my smoothie prep. That's when he lied and said they were anxiety pills. Go to part 3. I caught my husband slipping me birth control because he was cheating on me. Disclaimer, this is not my story time. It's sent me on Instagram. When I saw the pills on the floor that he dropped, I grabbed them and knew exactly what they were. This man decides to gaslight me and say that they're anxiety pills, when literally the label says birth control. And then very calmly, I asked him to just explain to me why he was giving me birth control. But again, he denied it. So I grabbed a knife and started stabbing the TV. It's his favorite thing in the world. And when I was about to stab his laptop, he finally broke down and told me. That's when he confesses that he's in love with someone else and that he's been seeing her for a year. And that he just didn't have the heart to tell me that he didn't want to have kids with me because he's in love with her. Grabbed his phone and asked him to call her. And he did. And when she answers the phone, I ask her if he knows that he's married and she said no. And she broke up with him right then and there. That's when he started begging me for forgiveness, but I kicked him out anyway. I called the cops and they said that I can't do anything about this. I did file for divorce and I left the apartment. His mistress told me that he's still begging to get back with her, but she won't. Her and I actually met up for coffee and we're friends now. So good riddance to him.
Okay guys, I'm bored and I'm not doing hair right now, so we're gonna talk about how TikTok almost got me expelled from my entire college. Okay, so one day, me and my friends decide to make like a cute little video of how we're studying for our chemistry exam, alright? Alright, so in this video, we're like studying hard, we're taking energy drinks, like it's like a little cute montage of us like trying to study for this chemistry exam we have today. The next scene, we're in the library, okay, where you can see everything surrounding the library. It's obviously the library. We show ourselves are writing something on our hands that have to do with chemistry. Meanwhile, this could just be a study method. It could just be us bored, jotting down ideas so we don't forget. And that's it. That's all we did. And it's like, okay, we don't think nothing of it. It's funny, whatever. The video gets posted. Meanwhile, I was never in the exam room when any of this took place, obviously, in the video. It wasn't doing nothing at first, but like later on, it started to like kind of blow up a little bit. I'm like, whoa. All of a sudden, I'm sitting in my bed and I start seeing like all these people in my comments talking about, oh, you need to take this down. Oh, they're gonna get you. Oh, don't let your college see this. Don't let your professor see this. And I'm like, see what? Like, what is there to see? I'm not doing anything in this video. I'm a freshman at the time, so I guess like I didn't know how like strict they were. I'll never forget this guy's name. Someone named Smith in my comments. He's like upset. Like he's like, oh, I'm gonna have to report you. No, this is not okay. Something like that. So I didn't know if he actually would, but I wasn't too worried about it anyway, so I just left it alone. Next thing I know, I'm getting like a text to my phone. I'm at my lab, my bio lab, and I get a text to my phone, and they're like, student code of conduct needs to speak with you immediately. Come to this room at this specific date. We need to talk to you. I'm like,